Yo, hi everybody, can you hear me? Check, check, check. Did I check the audio? Yes, it's working. Welcome to MOONCAST. Hi everybody, I'm Luna. The camera is not straight, but it's not the angle. It's because of the angle. It's fine. I look straight. That's what matters. Hi everybody.
You look straight, but you're not.
I look straight, but actually I'm not straight. Okay. For the fifth time, hi, I'm Luna. I'm a Vietnamese communist born and living in Vietnam. Welcome to my Mooncast, where I stream every week, once every week, twice. Um, and we talk about mostly answer the question, talk about the topics that I feel like is good to talk about. Yeah. Hi. Today's topic is gonna be about the update on my trip with the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union group, and I want to talk about Ho Chi Minh's um, idea about why the workers should have a party and should join a party, and then Lenin. So why Lenin also encouraged you to join a party, and how the party should treat each other, because in the early stage of forming a workers movement, there will be many different parties of the workers. And the point is how to live in harmony together and how to work together. So that's first of all. I saw first of all a donation from comrade named Bill. Hi, thank you so much. The message is, Luna, I was excited to see you and the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union in a promo for the upcoming Communist Party USA International Conference. As a party member, I'm proud to be in solidarity with the people of Vietnam and with Vietnamese communists. Yay, thank you so much. Yes, solidarity, and it is a great, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about this and why it's very important and how would it mean to you. It mean to me first, and I hope that it would mean something to you too. Thank you, Bill, so much for your donation. We also have a super sticker from our dear comrade Gio. Now let's check what sticker is this. I need to go to my YouTube channel and one of the two channels, hopefully to see it in one of the two. Where is it? The internet is kind of quite slow. Oh my goodness, people! Yesterday, me and EJ work a little bit on, on a video, and we use an app, and then that app like mimic my voice, but in the British accent, which is very funny. Hey Gio, thank you so much. The emoji is what do you call it? A game controller? A video game controller with like super strong arms like this, like shh. Cunning big levels up. It's very, very cute. All right, so first of all, let me find you some picture in my hard drive and choose some good pictures, and then I can share that to you, and then let's talk about this to warm up and also to give you an update. I am sorry I cannot do an update on the give butter on my Twitter because I've been very busy lately, and hopefully within the next few days I can have a fine update like that and put subtitles on the video. But give me a second here. Let me go to my hard drive. Um, Hi, can you please fill up in the blank here?
Let me.
You help me with that? No,
What are you
show
trying
you
to
the
do?
photo. I'm just looking for some good pictures.
I know. That's what worries me.
I know. This.
What? Okay. So the best thing to do is just open them in your browser, in a new browser tab, which I think you can do. Hi everybody. I don't want to be on camera right now, but I am. Which one do you want to show?
The picture where
mouse isn't plugged in.
The construction.
This one.
Can open on that, huh?
There you go. Then you can just shave the tabs. That's the best thing to do.
It's the best thing to do, huh? And this is some um there are many good videos.
This would have been a great thing to do before the stream started.
I know, but I'm sorry. My bad. Here.
Why
Okay,
don't you plug your mouse into your...
because I have no more space.
Why didn't you use that?
I can't because this USB hub just doesn't send the signal.
It works with the microphone.
All right, I think that is enough. I think now let's give me a second about this, people.
Present Chrome tab.
Oh, my brain is just so dead right now. Chrome
tab. It's not going to be Chrome tab. It's Edge tab.
S tab.
Tab, not window, not
this.
Yes.
This first.
Yes.
Oh man. So people, last week we just had I just had a fundraiser on this MOONCAST, and actually we reached the goal, and it meant a lot to the whole team that I've been with them last week. And this is what we did. I will make a video and I'll make an update, but this is a sneak preview of what we did. This is big thanks to your donation that we can do this. Here we build, because at that time, like, because over there kids and local people over there, they didn't have a clean playground, and they had to play in the dirt, and it rains a lot up there, so it was very miserable. So when we got up there and we met with local people, and we met with them, and we asked them like, how can we help you, how can we build this for you. And we had a few options of building a cement road for them, or flatten a playground for them, or after flatten it, we build this cement playground for them. And they voted and they chose to have the cement playground, because before that this is a very small, not flat, full of dirt and grass, so they could not hang out together at all. But then we did this, and thanks to your donation that this came true. Because at first I didn't have enough budget for that, and the only thing they could do before that was to just flatten the place, only make it bigger and clean the grass where they have the local people. But after this, after we got your donations, we bought the cement and we bought the rocks and the sand and do this together. And we are all just students. We are all just like 20-year-old students in University of Education. And yes, that's how we have people. And we just not us alone. A lot of local people went there and worked with us to finish this project. I am very happy. And the second thing, that we did a lot of other things too, and I will review all of that in a stream. But here's another angle of that, and let's show this, and then I can give you more of the... All right, here we go. So this is like a team of students and local people work together like this. Before we finish this 200 square meter of cement yard in just 2 or 3 days. It's really great. This looks a potential place for something special. Exactly, it is not just a playground. It is a place that the village can have a meeting together, or they can have a show together, a clean flat place so they can play together when it rains, or have any special night together, or have a festival or anything. What is this? Camarada, this is a project that last week in this MOONCAST, I got donation from you to help finish this project. Me and the Ho Chi Minh Communist Union team, students in the education university, we went to a super remote area. It's so remote that it didn't have internet. It didn't have a 3G or 4G at all, and the phone signal barely works over here. So remote and high up in the mountain like that. And local people here are all of them, 99% of them are ethnic minority, Kazakh people, and we didn't have a flat, clean playground for the local people. So we went here, we met with the local people, we had a vote, and they voted to have this playground. And we, with your donation from the last MOONCAST and before earlier than that interview for the two, we together, the team people, able to do this, to make this 200 square meter playground for local people over there. They have had to protect their head from the sun. Yes, isn't that obvious? All right, everybody. Long sleeves too, true. You must have long sleeves and a hat and sunscreen and drink enough water. So that is how we tropical people protect ourselves from the sun. We do not show our skin under the sun at all, as we try to, as less as possible. And that's what you should do under the sun because of the skin cancer problem.
Especially, that now because of climate change, even people with dark skin are starting to get skin cancer more often.
I didn't know that. Well, that sucks.
Because
people, I suggest you to do the Asian style. Cover yourself in the sun. That is the biggest problem. I see a lot of Westerners, especially white people, if they go to Vietnam, and I saw a few guys a few days earlier. They got a long motorbike trips on a motorbike freaking in the middle of noon in Vietnam. So hot, over 100.
During a global heat wave.
Dude, yes, literally a global heat wave. And they didn't have any freaking protection. And their skin just as red as a boiled crab. And it was so bad. I mean, I feel sorry for their skin. It will peel off. And they will face skin cancer very, very soon. They don't know how to deal with sun. They love the sunlight, but they do not how to deal with sunlight, how to protect themselves with the sunlight. All right, so yes, now let's talk about this a little bit about what that trip means to me. And here's the picture of me with the. So when we finished this playground, right on the next day we went back and we had a fun volleyball match with the local team. So like we mixed together actually the volunteer team and the Communist Youth Union team and the local people. They mixed together. They separate into two different teams and they play with each other. And I had a picture with the leader of that Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union in that university. Behind us were the two teams, the local people and the Communist Youth Union members played together. And that was why this guy having like wearing socks, like short pants like this. And they play barefoot like that. And yeah, this is me got a picture with with that team with the paper showing it is what they wrote, because that team were very thankful for our help, so they wrote it themselves, like that this team received this money from all the donors, thank you so much, something like that. So yep, that is my update. That is my update on my trip, on about the fundraiser that I did last week. Now let's talk a little bit about this issue too. So just so you know, I've been a member of the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union since 2009, since the moment I went to my university in Hanoi.
And before that,
I was a young pioneer.
Yeah. Young pioneer.
So in the system of education in Vietnam, when in like primary and secondary school kids will join the young pioneers, and at that time, we were taught to how to, help old people. We were taught to, like how to keep clean. So like we got together with the directions from our teachers and our team leaders to go and clean the streets, clean the villages, clean the class, clean our schools, how to keep clean and how to help old people, clean the houses of old people. It depends. But that is the time the young pioneers, where the time it's like the Boy Scout, Girl Scout in USA, but in a totally different sense, in the communist sense. That like we join together so we can learn how to work together, how to socialize and teach and have a fun time together, play time together. At the same time, we help the community. That is very, very important. It's just not about surviving in the jungle. Actually, we do not. It is not the focus of the young pioneers in Vietnam, because we learned survival skills in our family. Like I learned how to farm and it was a little girl, like just playing with the cows and playing with my mom and my dad and my older brother on the rice farm, and have a garden at home. And they said talk to people over in the village. They taught me what the vegetable we can eat, stay away from this animal, or you can eat this, you can eat that, and how to deal with your wound or something like that too. Mostly we learn that from families and communities where we live. But when we join the young pioneer, we learn how to live in a community, how to care, and how to be responsible for that. So it actually mean quite a lot. And of course we learn how to sing and dance. That's like obvious. Have a contest, and then how to line up, kids, how to line up, how to be patient. After that, when we got to the end of secondary school and into high school and university, we joined the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union, where we got the pin of the fist holding the Vietnamese flag. That is when we move a little bit forward. We learn discipline. We also learned a little bit about it. I don't know about if you're Vietnamese watching this. I don't know about your group, but my group, we learned a little about military tactics and how to, follow military tactics. And of course, again, we also do clean school streets. But the real thing start when in university. You will join the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union in your university, and together you would plan everything together. You call for donations, you sell things so you can get that money and to go to fund your trip. And you will go and work with local people, work with the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union in that local area. And we go to a very remote and poor area where people actually they are in need and they need help. We go there, we plan the whole trip, and we cook for ourselves. We meet with local people, we talk to people, we help them. So what I did from 2009 was that we called it like the Mùa hè xanh, the green summer. We went to a very remote mountainous area. We cleaned the dirt road for them. We built a kindergarten. We painted, we decorated. We also built cement, walls, cement road, and we also helped clean a lot of stuff in that. No, whatever the local people need, and whatever we can't do. So we had like 2 weeks trip like that to go and help with the people. It's not charity. I want to be clear. It's not charity. It is, when like we are the people who can give help and want to help, and we go to places where people who are in need of some help, and we together, we just all of us as poor students, we're just very, very, very poor, and we had to like try our best to survive and to help the local. It is a sense like you give the love, you bring the love to the people. You're going out there and you're doing some job, not charity. Not, it doesn't mean that you are wealthy or anything. No, we all poor. It's just the poor people help other poor people, because we are young, we have the youth, we have a time and effort, we can do that.
Workers.
We are workers helping workers. It's just that it's nothing like charity at all. And after that, I also did, like we we bring free like porridge to poor patients in a hospital in Hanoi. So at that time, there were monks and nuns in many pagodas, Buddhist monks and nuns. They cook porridge like mushroom porridge or green bean porridge. They cook free meal like that, but they could only cook. They didn't have enough manpower to bring those food to the people who are hungry. So we were the one who we got together, a team together, and we carry huge pots of porridge like that and brought it all the way to the heart hospital. And we, gave those food to, the patients and their patient families in that heart hospital. It's like meaningful kind of job like that. So next thing we did is that, like, because I learned English at that time, I studied English at that time. So I joined an English teaching group in the Hòa Bình Peace Village. It's a school, it's a village for children who are victims of Agent Orange in Hanoi, Vietnam. And I went there along with many other comrades, with foreigners too. We opened up 2 or 3 classes every week and we taught kids over there English. And it meant a lot too. And I've never stopped doing that. I kept doing that even when I graduated. I worked in a company and I started that in company and asked, the donation from my co-workers, donation from I asked the company to pay for that too. And we went to a remote area in Hà Giang and we did the same thing. So I never stopped doing that. I've been doing this for like 15 years already around that. And here's the thing too. This is what the main point that I want to share with you. That in the last few months, last year actually, if you watch me close enough, you would know that about last year I got got sucked into a little bit for a while into the drama sphere, and I got terribly attacked and harassed by online people. And at that time, I have to admit that I was very depressed, and I was so depressed and scared that I had to hide away from social media for a few months. Oh, thank you so much, Kun. Here's some money to the disabled kids in Vietnam. Thank you so much. I will definitely use this money.
We'll give that to Does the youth union? What's a good way to use that?
We can have we have so many options. But yes, the best is to the youth, the Communist Youth Union. Yes, I will keep this. I will inform them. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Corinthians. Yes. Yes. So in the for 2 or 3 months, I had to hide away from social media because of all of those drama BS, and it did wear me down a lot, and it got me into a point that I had to rethink about what I'm doing, who I am. It was so bad like that. But then, especially after this trip that I just did, I realized this. None of those dramas matter. They don't matter. They don't. When I went out there and I get back to what I've been doing for the last 15 years, I got out there working with other workers, poor students, work with actual workers, local people over there, playing with kids, teaching kids, and giving, all of what we had for the people who are in need out there in the real world. When you organize, it means a lot. It warms my heart, and it makes me realize that those dramas, it doesn't mean anything. Nobody knows about them. They don't matter. They don't have any.
They're not doing anything.
They don't have any influence in the real world. They don't do anything. All they do is sitting out there in front of the camera and gossip and attack and lie about other people, the people who are actually doing the good work over there. And what they only want is your time and your money. They want to suck you into that sphere. So you don't have a time to go out there to organize and to help people who are in need. So you don't have a time to go do anything, but you give them all the money you have for, like, because what they want is cloud, and cloud means money.
Their job is to deactivate people and neutralize people who might have radical potential.
Exactly.
We talked about this because I had a similar, when we went to the USA and we were working with people, in real world situations, like out in the streets and that sort of thing. And now that I've been getting more involved with orgs and that sort of thing, I've had a very similar experience. And I'm realizing that, the drama people, the debate fascists, the argumentalists, whatever you want to call them, all they're doing is talking.
Yeah.
They're getting nothing done.
Mm-hmm.
And they are intentionally trying to pull people into this nexus of inactivity.
And they act like they are so important. They act like they're so smart. They're smartest people in the room and everybody's under them. But, once you got your food out the door, you organize, you work with people, you realize how little they are. How little those drama people are. It's how shallow, I have to say the word shallow. It's super shallow. And they just suck your time, suck your money, suck over your effort and your attention for absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, the whole point of being a leftist, being socialist, and being a communist, being a Marxist-Leninist, even being an anarchist, is to make change, is to help people. You're being a leftist because you see people suffering and you want to help, right? You want to end the suffering in this world. You want to end exploitation. You want people to not be hungry anymore, to have a clothes to wear, to have a place to stay, to have a medicine when they're sick, to have an education when they need, right? We only can do that when we get together, we get out of the house, and we organize. And again, I also want to oppose again the idea of charity. The very bourgeois idea of charity means that we just look up on people who are rich, and they just gave some crumbles of what they have to poor people, and and think that they are savior of the world. It's like Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. They just write out some checks for some poor kids there, and they say, and we act like they are savior of the world, but no, actually they're not. They super rich assholes. They are rich for stealing the labor of thousands, hundreds of thousands of workers. And they just gave a little bit, tiny bit of what they had, what they stole, for the people who are in need. And we treated them like gods. Meanwhile, we, the workers, we already poor. But we gave everything we have for the people. And let me tell you this. We are the force. We are the strongest. And only get together, we can do that. And we don't need any billionaires. We don't need any millionaires. We don't need charity. We workers together, we can do it. We can end exploitation. We can end capitalism. We can end fascism. The point is that we have to get together and organize. And yeah. And also, yes, many of the donations can be deducted from taxes. Exactly the point that I want to add to. So it's very, very, very ugly. That is why, though, the second topic that I want to talk about today is about what Lenin and what Ho Chi Minh talk about the need to join a party. So in this book of the past, the revolutionary path. Where's the okay? Revolutionary Path by Ho Chi Minh, translated by Vijay Braksha and his team. I want to share you this. Let me how to do this. EJ taught me already, but where is it?
Remarkable.
Oh, yes, here.
Okay, wait. So you go to screen share.
Screen share and go
Start screen
to
share,
yes.
and then it'll say click got it,
Got it.
and then it'll say so accept, and then you can share that window.
Okay, let's do this. Stop screen. Present.
Share window. Yeah, share screen. Go to window.
Go to window.
And choose the remarkable.
Yes.
Yeah, share.
There we go.
There you go.
I suggest you all to go read this. This is a very, very good book written by Ho Chi Minh in 1927. A very, 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 very early book of Ho Chi Minh written when he was very, very, very young. When we haven't even had a party yet. Ho Chi Minh was still trying to form a party, the Workers' Party. And he wrote extensively about how important it is to have a party. We need to have a party. Now this is a part, part 2 about the revolution and article number how to it's not in highlight anymore. What is the highlight?
I don't know that.
This
yeah, highlighter.
Okay, good. What are the priorities of a revolution?
There you
go. First of all, we must have a revolutionary party responsible for mobilizing our people at home and making contact with oppressed nations and brutalians abroad. So there are two first main purposes of having a party. A revolutionary party is to, first of all, organize people, oppressed people domestically. And second of all, because we are all internationalists, so we need to connect different oppressed peoples in different countries together so we can join a big movement. But that is the first two important responsibilities of having a party, purpose of having a party. Our revolution will always victory to a strong party, just as a boat relies upon a firm hand on the tiller. Yes, a boat must have a tiller, else it couldn't move at all, or it moves very poorly. If the party wants to if the party wants to be steady, there must be unity. Every member of the party must understand. Every member must follow Marxist theory. Without ideology, the party would be like a man without wisdom, a boat without a compass. At present, there are many doctrines and theories, but Leninism is the most genuine, firmest, and most revolutionary one. Okay, this is just a very short part like this. Ho Chi Minh wrote about why we should join a party. Now, let me tell you this. I know that in the West right now, especially, there are many things around different parties. Either there are too many of them, or some of them are bad, some of them are okay, or all of them make kind of mistakes, and they did this and did that. They have some bigotry or problematic or something like that. I understand all of that. Yes, I understand all of that. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you. Exactly like this, Ho Chi Minh wrote this in 1927 when he was still in Paris, and he traveled to the USSR. We traveled to China to meet with other people and to talk with many different parties too. The point is this. How do I say this? In the very early stage of having a workers' movement, there will be many parties. There will be different parties of different groups of workers. And none of them is perfect. None of them will be perfect. The point is you to look at those parties and pick out one that you feel like it meshes with your own principles, with your own, working style. You join a party and you pointed out all the problems this party had, but at the same time, You organize and you work with people over there. The point is to organize and work with people and be open about all the problems that the parties and other comrades still have, because parties also must be open to all criticism. And if the party that you already joined do not open to criticism, you're free to leave. Nobody forced you to stay. That is very important, and it's very important to understand that none of the party is perfect, especially in the very, very early stage of having a movement or revolution. The Communist Party of Vietnam, is over 90-year old. It's 93-year old as far as I can recall. We still have problems. The worst problem is corruption. So we still talk about corruption today. Hundreds, thousands of people, they got arrested in the last few years because of corruption. Okay, the over 90-year-old Communist Party that successfully led a revolution, won against France and the USA, and then the communists still have problems. So what do you expect? Of course, a young, newly formed party, especially in the West, in the belly of the beast, of course, it will have a problem. But that should not be the thing that will stop you from joining it. Because maybe it needs you. Maybe those parties need you to see their problems, to change. That is the responsibility of a party members, who Ho Chi Minh wrote this in the same book. The responsibility of the party members is to openly, sincerely criticize the mistakes and the problems that the party has and the other members have. And the responsibility is to openly and sincerely take criticism. Do not turn it into anything that personal. So that is, I'm talking about this is because I saw a lot of people, especially in the West, they said that they do not join a party because of this problem, because of that problem. That's why they don't trust any, so they still join any. Okay, if you don't want to join because they can't adjust, you cannot trust any party, it's fine, it's totally fine. If it's really, really, really bad situation like that, you still have you and other comrades who share the same thought. So maybe you can start something, together, organize together. It's just simple like that. Or even like read some books together and educate each other like that. Here's the thing too, and that what I meant is like I want to criticize people who spend all of their time and effort online to go dunk on other parties. That is what I am against. I don't have any problem with you if you have any genuine concerns or criticism against other parties, like strong evidence, fine. It's good. It's good that you have a critical thinking, and it's good that you have that in your mind. But it doesn't mean that you can just like spend all of your time and effort to just dunk on other people and discourage other people from joining a party, or from like discourage them from organizing with each other, because none of them is perfect. I don't want you to do that, because it is toxic. It is not good for you or your community you're being around. And the reason why I say this is because organize is very, very, very important. As I said earlier, the whole point of being a communist, being a leftist, being a socialist is to change the world. And we can only do that if the workers get together, organize together. So like the Communist Party of Vietnam, we started as many different parties. And by late 1920s and early 1930s, there were 3 different parties. The Communist League, the Communist Party of Indochina, and then the Communist Party of Annam. And over time, they worked together, and then they merged together after, we share same goal and democratic centralism, as I made a video about that. So 3 main parties, they joined together and it formed into the Communist Party of Vietnam as today. And another important point I want to talk about too is that according to like Lenin, and in the video that I just made about democratic centralism, and one of the charter, in the charter of the Second International, led by led by Lenin in 1920, Lenin said it very clearly that parties should not be afraid of other parties. Each party must have an autonomous right. And parties should not compete with each other and sabotage each other. I am paraphrasing, but this is very, very important to understand this. Now, for example, let's look at the USA right now. You have many different organizations and parties. And the one of the problem that I see different members is that, or like even non-members, that they distrust the parties and they trying to compete with each other about the territories. They're trying to get as many people in their party as possible, and they compete with each other. This is a very capitalistic kind of mindset. No, leftist parties, you do not have to compete. And you have to overcome the fear of each other. You should not and you must not be afraid of each other. You should not compete for territories. What we should do is to work together, unite together. And it would be amazing if I can see a lot of different parties in the USA can overcome that fear, overcome that mindset of compete for territories, to work together, maybe work together in one specific project, in one specific plan or something like that. But it would be amazing to see comrades work together like that to overcome that. And that is very important. Lenin wrote extensively about that, overcome that fear in a very early stage. Like Vietnam did the same thing when, the Communist Party of Annam, the Communist Party of Indochina, and then the Communist League of Indochina, something like that. Instead of competing together, they work together, they join together, and after years of working together, they realize that, hey, we are actually very much aligned in everything together, and we work with each other very, very well. So, okay, let's do this. So they merged together, and there's a Communist Party of Vietnam. Of course, at the same time, there were many different parties, like even like smaller parties of the petty bourgeois, of capitalistic, of the something like that too. And we try, but like it didn't work. It didn't work out. Only the three parties together it worked out. So it doesn't mean that, the point is that I'm trying to say that it doesn't mean that every single one of you have to join together, because eventually there will be party that doesn't serve the purpose of the working class, and we cannot work with them, we cannot merge with them, because it would not help for the liberation of the working class. The point that we keep our principles, we try to work together, but we never sacrifice, we never compromise our principles, and we only work together and merge when all our purpose of all of our goals and style of working kind of match each other like that. But in a very early age of having a workers movement like in the West right now, I encourage you to organize if you can. Here's the thing too. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying that you have to organize, even though it's against your material conditions. For example, you're having severe like health problem or something like that. I mean, like, just do as what you can. As I said, from the very years ago, that try to not do nothing. From each according to your ability to each according to your need. Just do as what you can and try to not do nothing. So please don't feel bad if the material conditions stop you from doing that. But like, please trust. And if you can't, please go out there, find comrades that share the same vision with you, organize, and if you can't, go help other people. If you can, and then please trust each other, but have your own set of, principles, that make sure that you will not compromise your principles to bigotry, to racism, sexism, something like that. And I want to focus on this too. Democratic centralism is very, very important. Do not forget this. I made a whole series of videos about democratic centralism to make sure that you understand that once you join an organization, you join a party, it doesn't mean that you have to submit to every single thing that the party wants you to, even though you think that it's not suitable, because yes, as I said, none of the party is perfect. And that is why we need to have a democratic centralism. Democratic centralism is democratic centralism is a principle, very important principle, not just the Communist parties, but for all kind of organizations. If they really, really want to organize to have a good democracy, but still at the same time have a strong harmony and still have a strong unite together like that. What is democratic centralism? Let me give you a very quick definition of democratic centralism. Democratic centralism is a principle that first laid out by Marx and Engels and then completed by Lenin through his actual works of, starting a revolution and leading a revolution and building the USSR. What does it actually mean? The principle is very, 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 very simple. It's nothing difficult at all. Democratic centralism, it just means that on the one hand, workers members in an organization or members of a party, they must have a democracy. When they discuss a problem, when they vote for a solution, every members have the right to raise their voice, to raise their concern, to have their voice and their concerns heard by the whole entire party. Everybody is free to open their voice and to suggest solution. But once the party has voted on the solution, the members must follow the most voted one. That's a very simple way to understand it. The point is this. The point is that, yes, you have a democracy to raise your voice and concern and to suggest solutions. But at the same time, you still have to respect the whole entire group, respect other people's thought and decision, and you must have a unity with each other. You must share the concerns, and you must care for each other too. So centralism just means unity and harmony. Democracy means your voice are heard, but you still work together in a big unity with great harmony. Only then the party could be strong and powerful enough to lead the people, to guide the people, to help the people, and to make some change in the real world. And democracy is the part that will help a party, stay away from mistakes and problems, fix the problems and mistakes, not just go with, bigotry and all the other problems. That is very, very, very important. And I encourage you to bring these principles to whatever kind of organization that you're working on if they're not following this kind of principle already. Democratic centralism is usually misunderstood by a lot of people, especially anti-communists, of course, because they want to sabotage us and they do not want us to have a strong and powerful organization or a party because they don't want us to succeed. That is very simple like that. It is being misunderstood by and attacked by a lot of anti-Marxists over the world, especially by capitalists. If you're in the West, you might heard a lot of things about democratic centralism, like bad things about how it's actually authoritarian or something like that. But let's read this part. Lenin, believe it or not, 100 years ago, Lenin received a lot of these attacks. Came from there's two main attacks against Lenin and his democratic centralism. Is from, on the one hand, they attack Lenin of being too anarchistic with democratic centralism. When in the 1920s, when they did the land reform, and Lenin wanted to immediately seize the land and redistributed it to the farmers, and the people who didn't agree with that, they criticized Lenin of being too anarchistic, for not consulting, not compromising with the landlords and landowners. Immediately seize all the land and distribute it to the farmers. Scary to them, right? On the other hand, the Federalists at that time attacked Lenin of being too authoritarian, because they do not like the centralism part in his principle of democratic centralism. What they suggested is that the workers, or the members, should only have a federalist kind of system where party members can just leave whenever they feel like it. There's no obligation whatsoever. And accused Lenin of being having centralism part is too authoritarian. Now let's read this writing from Lenin fighting against this false accusation. Okay, this is from Lenin, quote unquote. Those who oppose democratic centralism always suggest autonomism or federalism as opposing alternatives, and consider those to be a solution in opposition to the instability of democratic centralism. But in fact, democratic centralism does not eliminate nor exclude anarchist autonomism. On the contrary, it includes the necessity to have autonomism internally. The same is true of federalism. Democratic centralism could be applied within federalism, and federalism does not inherently oppose democratic centralism. In a true democratic regime, federalism, I hate this word, federalism is just a transitional step towards true democratic centralism. The federal system does not, in the slightest, contradict with democratic centralism. There is no bigger mistake than mixing democratic centralism with bureaucracy and dogmatism. Now, our immediate task is to practice democratic centralism in our economy, and to uphold and allow local groups develop their own ideas and express their own ideas as we move toward a common goal. This is in the immediate task of the Soviet government that Lenin wrote. So you heard that? So, yeah, it just, the attacks against democratic centralism usually come from the misunderstanding of our opponents about democratic centralism. In the simplest sense, it just means that members have a democracy, have the right to raise their voice, to speak up their own thoughts and raise their concerns, and to suggest, their criticism and their solutions. On the other hand, all the members must have a strong unity together, work in harmony and respect with each other, and work towards a common goal. It's just it. It's just this, because without democracy, the party, it just became like a dictatorship, where one person control every single thing and no members have any say whatsoever. Of course, nobody wants that. Nobody wants dictatorship. On the other hand, a party, an organization without centralism is gonna be a very, very weak party, where they cannot move forward at all, and it will be separated into splinter groups. Because when the members, it's just like they just argue over a very minor problem, they cannot come up with a solution, because they share no common goals, they share no unity and work in harmony together. The organization and the party will disappear, and the existence of a party and an organization. That is why democracy and centralism, they both very important. One is to make sure that the party will have the best concerns, will fix the mistakes, and to have the best solution to guide the people, to guide the movement. On the other hand, centralism is to make sure that the party will maintain its existence and actually move forward. So that is it. That is why you have to balance between the two. You cannot just have a one without the two. So this is the problem that I want to criticize to a lot of people in the West, because of the capitalist education that they've been educated, they've been indoctrinated. They despise centralism, they despise anything related to centralism, and they equate centralism to authoritarianism, which is a very, very wrong. This is wrong. And they, those people, they let the capitalists dictate what they understand as authoritarianism. Because that is why I do not even want to use the word authoritarianism anymore. And whenever I use this word, I just do it in a sarcastic kind of way, because capitalist media outlet, they entirely dictate the word authoritarianism. And for now, authoritarianism just means communist, Marxist-Leninist is that. And because of that, they even though they call themselves leftists, but they still despise the idea of centralism. It is because of the indoctrination that they receive. It is because they do not understand the true meaning of the word centralism. Centralism doesn't mean dictatorship, doesn't mean authoritarianism. It means that a party and organization must have a unity, must share a common goal. It's as simple as that. How can it be called an organization, a party, if you don't share a common goal? It won't be a party anymore. It won't be an organization anymore. And without a common goal, you cannot finish anything. You cannot finish any task. You cannot make any change, because sharing no goals means that having no destination. How can you walk together without a destination? That is very important. And the destination of socialist, communist, Marxist, Leninist is to have a stateless, classless society. Very important. We want the dictatorship of the proletariat. Another very most misunderstood term by Lenin. It's very, very funny to see people just read the word dictatorship of the proletariat. Oh, it's scary, it's dictatorship. Oh my God, it's so laughable. Yeah, this is very important. I think that the U.S. party basically have parties within parties. It's two sides of same coin. They the Democrats and Republicans, they saying them they both capitalist party to make up for the lack of third parties. They sort of operate in a democratic centralist way, but for the benefits of the bourgeoisie. It in a sense, yes, even though they act like they don't like each other, they fake some. It's like wrestling, seeing the fight between the Democrat and the Republicans, seeing like wrestling. Do you really believe that wrestling is real, is true? No, it's not. It's just all for a show. The whole point is to maintain the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie, dictatorship of capitalism, to make sure that the workers will have no voice whatsoever. And every single year, those will fake some fight and to make vote for the Democrats, vote for the Republicans. They just make some very minor difference between the party, but they force you to focus on just a little bit of that and how little the workers have a voice in that system. But since you have an illusion of democracy, because you have the right to vote for either Democrats or Republicans, so you have a democracy, right? But actually, whoever you vote for, the bourgeoisie win. It doesn't matter. Like, like the last election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, how, those Democrats at that time, oh, talking about like vote for Biden because Trump is the worst. Like, okay, I got to a point. Yes, Donald Trump is a very, very freaking bad. Absolutely. But is Biden actually that much better? No, it's not. And look at what Joe Biden's been doing the last few years. Sent hundreds of billions of dollars for war. Meanwhile, workers in the US still facing, houselessness problem, healthcare problem, unemployment problem, gas price problem, inflation problem, and none of them get any help. Still the same. Is it Trump nor Biden who changed anything. Literally the slogan of Joe Biden is quote unquote, nothing will fundamentally change. That's literally it. Yeah, dog and pony show. Yeah, party of the bourgeoisie. That is why we are desperately in need of having a party of the workers in the West, especially in the USA. That is why, first of all, if you can, if you're able, if you're capable of, join an organization, join a party, knowing that they are not perfect. Keep in mind that they are not perfect and keep track of all their problems and openly express your voice if once you join them. Practice democratic centralism. Introduce democratic centralism to the group. And if they still being very asshole and they don't listen to it and they don't consider that or they don't fix the problem to the point that you cannot work with them anymore, you're free to go. Nobody forces you to stay. And you're free to try another party. And if you don't trust any party, start your own then. You don't trust an organization, start your own. It starts with 2 or 3 people. That's it. If you like have some comrades that you know and you trust, you can go out there and clean the trash or cook some food. You can call for the help from other people in the area to just cook some food and bring some bread to houseless people, to bring clean water to people who are in need. It starts from simple like that, like what we did. We couldn't. We're so poor students that we couldn't even be able to buy the food and cook the food ourselves. But what we did is that we work with the monks and the nuns who had the food, who can cook food. And what we did was we deliver that food to the people who are in need. Every step, every stage, every part need your help. Do whatever you can. The workers must help each other. Waiting for charity is not the way to go. No, waiting for those millionaires and billionaires to throw some of their crumbles to help who are no. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna work. Meanwhile, we are here. If we don't have a time, maybe we have $1 to spare. If we don't have $1 to spare, maybe we can drive our car to just take the food from people who already cooked it, bring it to people who are in need, like that. So yeah, the point is to organize, to work together, and to make the change. The point is to join a party and make sure that you sincerely criticize the party, practice democratic centralism. Understand that? And it's a part for the parties too. The parties must overcome, as Lenin said in 1920 in the Charter of the Second International, the parties must overcome the fear of each other. Parties must not compete in territories with each other, must not sabotage each other, must not dunk on each other. parties must find ways to work together if they share a common goal. Must join together, work with, maybe start with small project first. It would be so great to see a lot of parties, different parties of workers in the USA to work together to join the project, because together they are very powerful. Hundreds of thousands of members right there. They can make some change. But if they keep, competing with each other, scared of each other, competing in the cloud and, like influence with each other, they won't unite. The famous tactic of capitalists is to divide and conquer. Because once you are divided, you will be easy. It's going to be so easy to conquer you. That is the point why we have to overcome all the problems to work together like that. The government doesn't want us to unite, of course. The whole point of Vietnam in the 20s and 30s and the 40s, we were even killed, imprisoned, executed. If they figure out that we were member of any parties back then, outside of the bourgeois parties. That is why there must be many stages of having an organization, of having parties, especially a communist party. At first, you started with a secrecy kind of stage. Stage means that you have to protect the identity of your people, and I wish that I can find it, but it's kind of very, very hard. I need to dig deep. But in the 70s and in the 60s, when Vietnam, it says the South Vietnam still actively fighting against imperialist USA, at that time there were a lot of infiltrators, Asian provocateurs by the puppet government, the puppet regime back by the USA. They infiltrated the Communist Party of Vietnam, and they would take all the identity of the actual members, especially high-ranking members, take all the information, and they will use that to sabotage and assassinate our members. That was why, in mostly all of the meetings, secret meetings of the Communist Party of Vietnam in the South of Vietnam, under the occupation of the USA and the puppet regime, all the party members, they had to wear big mask, cover their whole face, just cut 2 holes in their eyes like this. The point is that we have to protect the identity of our members, and at the same time to to make sure that even genuine members will not know about the identity of other members. So even if they got caught, and when they got caught, they will be tortured by our enemies to give our information. So even if the worst case scenario, they got arrested and they got tortured, they won't know anything. They cannot know about who would be the other members, because nobody can know about their identity at all. That is what we had to go through. Now in the USA right now, you're in kind of it's very dangerous too. Just look at the violence right now coming from the government, coming from the state, coming from the police. It is very important for you to protect your identity, but we are in the internet kind of era. You need to have a lot more nuance and knowledge about how to protect your identity, especially online, to make sure that you will not get attacked, your information will not get stolen. That is very important. That is very important stage of having a movement, a workers' movement. Oh, I got a super chat. There's the message is socialist countries could embrace American capitalists by sending humanitarian aid to West Virginia, which is very poor. What's going on in West Virginia? You know anything?
Very poor. I think they're just saying it's very poor.
Hey.
It is very, very poor.
Why is it so poor?
I mean, it's a rural
area.
Yeah.
remote area.
Yeah, I mean, it's a right to work state. I'm pretty sure that's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, the South. Most of the South is poor.
True.
And yeah, most of the South is anti-union. I mean, there's
Anti-union. Yep, understandable. Work together like labor unions. True. Yes. Let's talk about this a little bit. The workers' union and the importance of workers' union in Vietnam. The Communist parties of Vietnam actually started from a workers' union. The very first workers' union in Vietnam was the Red Union. We call the Red Union. Very good name, right? Very simple. The Red Union. Workers in a factory in the south of Vietnam formed together. The factory owned by colonialist French, of course. They formed together and they had strike together. And from that one first red scare, red union. I'm sorry. From that one first red union, a lot of other factories, other companies at that time started their own unions, and then unions at that time, they did not stay divided. They organized together. Again, it's important. Organize, work together. Do not compete for territories. Do not sabotage each other. Unions in different factories and companies all over Vietnam started to form and start to work together. And yes, together we join, and then we join a common a youth union, and then together that form bigger and bigger into an alliance, and from that alliance the workers party formed. That is very important. It is in the workers union in Vietnam that workers got educated, got radicalized, and got class consciousness. They got class consciousness about how the workers and the peasants, because they were all peasants before and they were forced to leave their farms to go work in the factories owned by colonialist French. Most of the workers in Vietnam were peasants, they were farmers. Understand that. So in that labor unions, they learn about class consciousness, they learn about the nature of capitalism, of imperialism, of colonialism, and how the labor is being extracted, being stolen by their masters who beat them every day. And then they learn, they share the anger like that. They share the anger, they share the hatred, and they share the desire to be liberated. And from that worker unions, they also learn about Marxism, Leninism, democratic centralism, the liberation of the whole entire working class, how to have a classless, stateless society. It is from the labor unions that important it is. It is true that, as this said, the unions are becoming increasingly petty bourgeois in the West. It is true. I don't disagree with this. It is freaking true because, of course, labor unions are very, very powerful, and the capitalists know that it is very powerful. That is why they will try their best to sabotage it as much as possible. They spend millions of dollars on persuading workers to vote no for unions. And they spend lots of money to buy off the leaders of the unions. So they can never actually work with workers, listen to workers, and actually help the workers. All they do is to protect the companies. I understand that. It's hard because your unions are gutted in the USA. Just read the history of the IWW that my partner EJ made a whole series about it. How the IWW started as a very radicalized from a radical organization that literally threatened the dominance of capitalists in the 1910s and 20s and 30s. But after capitalists realized how powerful they are, and they were on the verge of uniting black workers and white workers, fought against racism. They were terribly gutted by the state of America, by the government. And the government formed a BS, AFL, ICO, something like that. What you call it?
Well, the state didn't form it; they were already there. They're
Already there, right?
the
Yeah, but they
AFL-CIO.
kind of got help. AFL-CIO.
The AFL-CIO became they basically were having a struggle in the 1910s.
Yeah.
The IWW versus the AFL-CIO. And the IWW wanted to form like one big union and have everybody join, and we're trying to unite black and white workers. Whereas the AFL-CIO was keeping things segregated, and they wanted people to be focused on their own trade and their own. So it was like the more liberal labor union group. And then during World War I, the IWW. I'm doing the very short story. During World War I, the IWW spoke out against the USA participating in World War I, taking a revolutionary defeatist position. And all the IWW members, like I think 300 leaders, got arrested for sedition.
Yeah.
And the IWW was basically reduced to shambles, and the AFL-CIO took over and won. And that's why we have such a kind of bourgeoisized union apparatus in the USA right now. It's why the unions supported the Vietnam War. But things are starting to change again now, and we're seeing more radical union activity. So
yeah.
I don't want to be too doomer about it. I hope that unions can be. Oh, the other thing is during the Red Scares, the unions kicked out all the communists, especially from leadership. And I think in a lot of unions now, even today, they don't allow communists in the unions, at least on paper. So they like explicitly kicked out all the communists during the Red Scares, the AFL-CIO and most of the big unions in the U.S. So we need, but the other thing is like communists are very, very, I know communists have been very central to a lot of big important union efforts lately. Like I know that communists were really important with the Amazon unionization in New York, for instance. So the IWW is growing again. So there's a lot of good news right now, but for like a century almost. Yeah. For a century. Unions in the USA were extremely, compromised by like bourgeois interests. So that's why a lot of big unions now have like no strike policies and that sort of thing.
Exactly. I mean, it's really BS when literally the point of having a union is so you can strike. But then in the law is like there's no strike. So what's the freaking point? That's the first thing that yes. And with ALU, I have a lot of hope for USA. Yes, for working class in USA too, because like at least something is going on. And if we really want a union that run by the workers, owned by the workers, we need to really start doing it. And I know it's hard. But the ALU exists, and you can use that as example about how to do it. Union with no strike policies. Yes, like, excuse me, what? So what's the point of having a union then?
Controlled opposition.
Yeah, control opposition. Yep. Start comment. This is a while back. I saw a white guy running a non-la the other day. Where are they? I mean, actually, I don't have any problem.
It depends on the context.
Depends on the context.
I've seen it obviously in a very racist context.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when people are like basically doing brown face or like making fun of people with it. But
true, yeah.
But I mean, I don't think anybody in Vietnam would be offended if you just. I don't know. That's up to you. You take.
You just wear it
I'm not touching that one.
if you just wear it as though how it functions to stop you, protect you from the sunlight, fine. It's just a hat.
What do you think? I'm just curious. I don't know. I have no clue. But in like Hoi An, they have you can rent like a aozai and a nonma, and people like tourists will wear them and get photos taken in Hoi An. I mean, do you have a problem with that, or you think it's okay? I don't know. I
mean, I'm like an easygoing person, so I do not have anything against that. Some people might have a different opinion, but that's my own opinion.
I mean, I'll tell you this: don't wear it as like a costume or a Halloween costume.
Exactly, don't wear it as a costume. Don't wear it to make fun or insult or.
So get this: when I went to a language institute, for 2 months. They had to warn us because they had a costume party at one point. I don't know if it was for Halloween or what. And some woman wore a nonla as like a costume, and it was like a Halloween costume.
Okay.
Which is not. I mean, it's not a fucking Halloween costume.
It's not.
It's like I'm a Vietnamese person. Like no, that's not. I don't think that's
that.
appropriate.
Yeah, like I would never wear. I don't know. I don't want to wear a Victorian dress and act like a Victorian in a costume kind of style. Is that possible?
That's totally different.
Really?
That's totally different.
I don't know.
I can't put my finger on what, but it's like
I cannot touch it yet. It's something.
No, because it's more of an ethnicity thing, is why.
True.
I mean,
yeah.
It's like, plus it's like, okay, I think if you, Luna, if you decided to wear like a 15th century, like if you wanted to go to a Halloween party as like a 15th century noblewoman from Vietnam,
fine.
There's no problem with that because it's your culture.
Yeah, it's my culture.
You're coming from that culture and you have more of an attachment to it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I went to a Halloween costume dressed up like
15th century noble,
yeah,
no.
Especially if it's just
it's kind of weird. No,
you get what I'm saying?
Because something is off.
One of them is like you're wearing a culture as a costume. You would be like, it's different because it's your culture. You can't wear your culture as a costume because it's your culture. Does that make sense? Like, yeah.
Need to put a lot more thought in this.
But no, it's not. It's pretty simple actually. It's about respect.
Yeah, it's about respect. It's all about respect.
And if you look at if you're wearing a culture's costume as like because you think it's funny, and you're not being respectful, then it's disrespectful. Period. It's not that complicated.
Period.
I don't think.
Yeah, respect. D.L. Sendero, the radical left is very fragmented in U.S. Luna. Yes, I totally agree with you. Yes, very fragmented, and there are many reasons for this. First of all, because of main of it is individualism. Individualism is something kind of capitalist bourgeoisie pushing down on you a lot in the last century. Talking about like every man for himself, got my fuck you kind of mindset, and it's something like that. Individualism, and they even in your education somehow you were taught that just care for yourself is a good thing. Like you have to just focus on yourself. Do not care about other people. That is the opposite about what we've been taught in Vietnam, part in particular, and in Asia in general. Because in here, especially in Vietnam, we were taught that we always have to care for each other people, and even sacrifice a little bit of our own comfort for other people. And it says a lot during the COVID quarantine that happened, like in Vietnam when the COVID happened, and the government encouraged people to quarantine, stay at home, wear the freaking mask, get a vaccine, wash your hands, and do not go out in a big group. Everybody just do that. Because it is absolutely uncomfortable for a person to wear a mask if they are not used to it. It's absolutely suck to be locked at home, and suck to be to stick the cotton stick in your nose like several times a week. It hurts, and sucks to take the vaccine, like a lot of that, but we still do it because we have this collective kind of sense that okay, we sacrifice our own comfort because we know that we are saving lives right here. I mean just the pain in my nose is nothing compared to that. Like if I do this, people out there, they might survive. So okay, yes, public health is very important. Sacrifice your own for public health. Yeah, it's fucking worth it. So that was why like mostly every single Vietnamese follow that instruction. No, like there's some complaints, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just like, okay, it sucks, but I guess just can't do it because to save, to have other people. The opposite thing happened in the West. You had protests with thousands of people joining to like, oh, I don't want to wear masks. I don't want to take vaccine. Like, what are you talking about? Your personal freedom? Like, what? Like, so like, just stay 2 weeks in fucking quarantine is of too so much pain in the ass. So you willing to sacrifice the life of other people for that, for this 2 weeks of freedom to you? Protests, to anti-mask protests, anti-vaccine protests, like, holy. At that time, I knew at that time that the individualism is very strong in the West, but I did not to what extent. After the COVID-19 happened, I was just shocked at how selfish, how much of a selfish assholes so many people are in the West. Oh my goodness. It was horrible. Yes, because of individualism, so you won't put your feet in other people's shoes. You won't sympathize and empathize with other people. You won't organize. I got my fuck you kind of mindset. I got my job, or I got a house, I got this car, so I don't care about other people because of this or that. Individualism is very strong and powerful in the West. That is why Ho Chi Minh and many other Vietnamese comrades wrote extensively about how we Vietnamese people have to fight against individualism. And according to Ho Chi Minh, according about to revolutionary morals, he said that individualism is the source of all kinds of disease that a communist might have. From individualism. Individualism might cause you to never listen to other comrades, that you are selfish. So you become an arrogant asshole who don't give a shit about other people. So, of course, you will not become a revolutionary. You will not become even a decent person. Individualism also will stop you from working together, uniting with each other. And also, individualism will also bring dogmatism, because you just being alone in your world, being the king in your world, do not care, do not listen to other people. You think that you're smartest in the room. You never listen to, you never fix all the mistakes you made. And that is not good at all for you as a person and for a member of a party and organization. Individualism is very, very dangerous disease that you need to stop. And alienation, to fragmented, because of alienation also come from individualism. Because you're individualist, you only care about yourself, you don't care about other people. Therefore, you're alienated from other people. Therefore, you won't organize, you won't be uniting with each other. You won't make some change. Divide and conquer. There's a reason why the capitalist education, the bourgeoisie, been teaching you how to be individualist. Because of all that. Once you're individualist, you cannot do anything. You cannot unite. You're like a splintered people, fragmented. They could never do anything. You could never do anything. That is why it's so easy for them to control you, to brainwash you, to manipulate you from threatening the dominance, the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie. I thank you so much for your donation. I recently met some comrades from socialist parties in Southeast Asia. Any advice on how they can link up with the Communist Party in Vietnam? Thanks. I'm not sure about exactly your situation, but the CPUSA has official connection with a lot of official communist parties, many countries all around the world. So I really encourage you to, if you're an American citizen, just join the CPUSA, and from that, you can have official connection with the Communist Party. Because I cannot answer your question because I don't know what country is that. I don't know that if that a person how high the ranking they are in the person, but again at the same time, because you're not the citizen of that countries, it's gonna be hard for you to connect with that other country's party without being a citizen or without being a member of a different country that has official connections. It's like, that kind of, what do you call it? You need to have some credibility. I hope that I use that word right. But yes, yeah, I hope you understand that the Communist Party, many countries in the world, they being attacked and sabotaged a lot by capitalists, especially if it's in Southeast Asia. And if they are a member of the Communist Party of that country, they've been seeing a lot of sabotage attempts coming from the West, especially from the West, from the USA. So usually we will not trust very much if an individual just go and have someone trying to have a connection with us, even though yes, maybe like you are very genuine and you really want to have a connection with her, but without having something kind to prove that you're like trustworthy, you're genuine in this, it's gonna be hard for you to get a connection, because hopefully you understand that our survival bias that we will. So that's why I encourage you to, if you're in the US or in a different like Canada or something like that, join the Communist Party of your own country, gain the credibility, and from that you can have a connection with other countries' communist parties. It's going to be easier working that way. I'm just talking to you in a very practical kind of way right here. So that's my sincere advice. Hey, super chat from Warzilla. Can you explain what you understand the philosophy of individualism to actually be? I understand your criticism of it, but my understanding of what it is may be different than yours. Can you clarify what the key tenets are? So, individualism is, in a simplest term, what we understand as you only care about yourself. You do not care or concern or have any sympathy with other people. It is a simplest term. That is individual. As I said, the God mind fuck you kind of mindset. So that is the thing that, according to Ho Chi Minh, a lot of writings of Ho Chi Minh and many other Vietnamese comrades too, individualism is one of the biggest weapons that we, the communists, have to fight against, because we, the communists, we have to work together to get together for the whole goal of liberating the whole humanity. And we can only do that if you're not fighting not just for yourself. You're fighting for other people too, for the comrades out there too. Even fighting for people that you never met, you don't even know that they exist. But you're fighting for the whole liberation of the whole humanity. That is very important. And individualism is a thing that maybe I'm speaking from a perspective of Vietnamese person who's staying in Vietnam and seeing, a lot of liberals and capitalists in Vietnam trying to bring this individualist mindset into our country to against, all the social education we're having. But what we understanding is that individualism is when you only care about yourself and you don't care about other people. You don't want to help.
Do you want to hear what I was brainwashed into believing about individualism in the US?
Oh, yeah, please.
So in the USA, I was literally taught this in school, in my like social studies and what do they call it? It's government class or something like that. But anyway, so the official like ideology I was taught is individualism means that the individual is the most important unit of society. And the way they taught it was individual rights are like paramount. And everything should be focused on giving the individual as much freedom as possible to lift themselves up. That's the idea.
By their own bootstrap.
So in other words, yes. So the idea is, and this is literally what was taught to me. The idea is you as an individual should have as much freedom as possible to be as successful as possible in society. And basically this is all tied, of course, to the free market, quote unquote. Even though there's never been a free market ever.
Free market is a myth. It doesn't exist.
It's just the bourgeois capitalist controlled market. But anyway, so the idea is like, remove as many barriers as possible from the free market so that individuals can have as much potential to be as successful as they possibly can and have as much freedom as possible. It totally ignores the fact that in order for an individual to have freedom and security, which are not at odds with each other, by the way, because the other thing I was taught was that freedom and security compete with each other. They're like opposed to each other, when in fact freedom and security have a dialectical relationship. But that's a different subject. Anyway, the only way for an individual to have freedom and security is for the collective to be as developed as possible, so that you can have, for instance, how can I have freedom if I can't eat? How can I have freedom if I die of a preventable disease? How can I have freedom if I have something like cancer and I can't afford treatment for it? There's no recognition. It's metaphysics. The idea is that the individual freedom is opposed to collectivism.
Exactly.
When in fact the individual and the collective have a dialectical relationship with each other and should develop one another if society is functional and healthy.
We need democratic centralism in the sense that democratic centralism upholds the individual rights, democracy, but at the same time we still live in a collective together. I've
seen a couple. This is a side note. I'm not telling anybody what organizations or parties or whatever to join.
No.
But if you're worried about giving your personal information or your real name or anything to any of these organizations, I'm not aware of any radical organization that doesn't allow you to use a fake name and use fake information. That's part one. And part two is I highly recommend, if you get into radical organizing work and you really are serious about it and you can afford it, you get some kind of anonymized mailing address if you possibly can. And there are ways to do that. A P.O. box is not anonymized. Really, there's no way to get in a fully anonymized mailing address in the U.S. because you have to fill out this federal form to get mail forwarded to something. But regardless, you could use a fake address if you don't need to get mail from them. And most orgs, I've never gotten physical. The only physical mail I've ever gotten was like my card for like a couple of orgs. But like, you don't even really need that. Or you could even just email them and say like, hey, I'm not going to give you my address because I have security concerns or whatever. And most organizations I'm aware of will be fine with that. So you don't have to give your real name to organizations if you want to stay anonymous or your real private info, which I completely understand why people would have concerns with that.
Oh, can we answer this question? Guys, thank you so much for the super chat. Here in Brazil, in the YouTube is full of coaches teaching that is all on you and your work. Do you have a such coach?
Oh, like life coaches.
We do have such.
Yeah, I thought so.
I despise those people. Those liberals in the best, like, I don't want to insult them, but like freaking liberals, individualist mindset. Oh, racism is just about personal morals kind of thing. Just do not act racist and racism will be gone. Like, what are you talking about? Racism is a systemic problem that will need systemic solution. It's not an individual moral thing. I don't give a shit if that person is racist to me or other people. I don't give a shit because like if that person is just like nobody has no saying whatsoever. What I care about is how the system is literally racist against non-white people. How non-white people, how hard it is for non-white people to have a job. How hard it is for non-white people to not being arrested and executed and imprisoned by the USA, by the government system, by the legal system. That's what I care about. I don't give a shit about individual being racist. Of course, I am annoyed. I'm annoyed with individuals being racist. But what I talk about when I talk about racism is about system problem. So it's like, yes, about the life coach people, like it's not just your personal responsibility, like to stop using plastic straws and climate change will stop. Like, what? Climate change happen because of the factories, because of capitalism. They overexploit this planet, and because of the profit motivation, they do not care about the environment. They dump poisons, toxic toxins, and CO2 in this world. It's like you using plastic straw, it doesn't mean any fucking thing. Even if this world immediately stop using, the whole entire planet stop using plastic straw right tomorrow, the climate is still going on because factories still out there. It's still emitting freaking CO2 into the atmosphere. Self-help stuff is idealist nonsense. Exactly, because they do not, those liberals, because they do not, the whole point of the system is to maintain the status quo. Even if, it doesn't matter if they don't know about it or they know, but they still don't want to do it, Those are liberals. They want to maintain the status quo. They see no problem in capitalism. All they can see is problem of individuals. That is why they keep talking about, the life coach. They're talking about how it's all on you to train yourself. Tomorrow the world will be better. It's like, it's a very naive, childish way of thinking about the world, because they do not have a full understanding about the nature of capitalism, the nature of imperialism, and they do not have any clear idea about how to move forward. They don't have a goal. Their goal is to, I don't even know what the goals of liberals, what they believe, not like the true goals, like what the actual, like what the liberals actually say that they want to do.
Liberalism is a huge, giant umbrella.
Oh. Science scam.
Okay, both statements can be true at once. No, liberalism is a huge umbrella. First of all, you have to talk about, are we talking about ideologically committed liberals,
exactly,
like Democrat party elites?
What do they want what the future they want?
Okay, well, hold on. There's multiple layers to this. It's like an onion. You have to peel the layers.
Okay.
First of all, I'll start from the center. Okay, the bourgeois neolibs goals are filler party. That's what I was gonna say. Yes, the real people guiding all of this are the capitalists, and their goal is to accumulate as much wealth as possible. Because wealth is power, and because that is the material base of capitalism, is all about siphoning up wealth from workers and giving it to capitalists, and they want to preserve and enhance that system, and they want to get as much wealth as possible. And the most radical ones want to do it through things like imperialism and colonialism and slavery. Yeah,
it's a distraction. Liberals is distraction.
Well, no, okay, hold on. I'm still unpeeling the onion.
Okay.
So the next layer are their servants and their minions who run the parties and the media outlets and that sort of thing. And yes, their job is to distract you and put you on like a primrose path and make you think that you're actually helping yourself when you're helping the capitalist agenda. And then the next layer on the outside is like the millions and millions of people who think of themselves as liberals. And these are working people. And they think that liberals are trying to improve the system to make it better for working people.
Well, within the system.
So the propaganda line, the false consciousness, is all about the fact that capitalism is fine. It's good. Remember, it lifts individuals up out of poverty. That's the whole. It's individualism, right?
Yeah, individualism.
So if you're a standard indoctrinated working class liberal, and I'm talking about the USA specifically right now, you believe that we can tinker with capitalism and reform it to make it serve workers. That's the belief that we've been brainwashed into believing. So it depends on what position within liberalism you're talking about. I mean, because I think that a lot of people really do think that, like, when they vote for Obama or Biden or whatever, that they're like helping workers and they're helping themselves and lifting people out of poverty, because we've been indoctrinated so heavily that like capitalism serves workers and lifts people out of poverty and crap like that. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
But the goal ultimately,
So
whether
lost.
people realize it or not, is serving capital.
Yeah, they're so lost. Even though I know that there are many liberals who genuinely believe in liberalism is a good way, they're so lost.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's false consciousness. That's why our job is to build class consciousness.
Oh, Cornelius had a compliment on the good statements and question from Borgzilla asking about individualism.
What?
We had a super chat to another super chat who asked about individualism.
We had a what?
We had a super chat complimented on another.
Complimenting. Okay.
Complimented about another chat talking about individualism.
Cool.
That's cool.
Nice.
First. It is a first in MOONCAST.
I like that.
Oh.
That is a MOONCAST first. You're right.
Oh. Liberals want to be comfortable and seen as a good more as a consequence of that. Want to do nothing but still sound like a good person. Right?
Who? What?
Liberals, they don't want to do anything, but they still want to appear as good.
Oh, a lot. See, here's why I'll disagree with that, because I used to be a liberal and I used to work with a lot of liberals. A lot of liberals work very hard and and I'm talking about working class liberals, right? They'll join like liberal charities and they'll dedicate their life. No, this is what's sad about it. I mean, think about it. Like, I used to work a lot. I had a video production company and I did a lot of videos for an organization called United Way.
Okay.
United Way is a huge
liberal
nonprofit organization. It's liberal, and it's funded by wealthy donations and people donating at their workplace. There's two funding sources.
Okay.
What do you call them? Philanthropists, wealthy donors, and then people just giving like $3 a month at their workplace, right?
Yeah.
But the wealthy donors are absolutely who control that organization.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. They're the ones that set the agenda for those kinds of organizations. And I'm not just talking about one org. This is all liberal orgs, right? But the sad thing is there will be volunteers that will go and dedicate like all their free time to helping these liberal organizations. And they really believe that they're doing good work. And maybe they are helping some people. I'm not saying they're not helping anybody.
Yeah, I mean, along the way, they would, even the clock.
Let me give you an example. One of the things United Way did was they did meal delivery for like old people and people who couldn't, like disabled people and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say, of course they help people, right?
Yeah.
They did. But you could set up that same kind of organization from a radical revolutionary perspective without being beholden to the bourgeoisie through these nonprofits. Right. That's why we say that things like the Ho Chi Minh Youth Union is not charity. It's not philanthropy. Yes. It is revolutionary work.
Yes.
And it's very important what ideological programming is driving your activity. I feel really sorry for people who are doing really good work and trying really hard to help their communities within a liberal framework, because they're always going to be held back by that.
Yeah.
And what I hope people will do is start building revolutionary, radical programming like this that's explicitly communist, so that we can actually get some traction and really fix the underlying problems. Because if all you're going to do is go volunteer at a charity event that's controlled by the bourgeoisie, horse train.
Yo,
welcome Raiders.
Seems like I have to.
The most famous horse.
I have to stream overtime now since
the
famous horse rated.
Famous horse said, "Oh fuck, is EJ trapped in the computer?" Hey kid, I'm a computer.
Yeah, this is EJ.
I'm
on
here.
The screen.
I'm not camera ready. Did anybody get my reference, by the way? So welcome, horse folk.
We talk about. Oh, let me recap.
Go ahead and recap. I kind of made my point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you made a great point. Thank you so much, EJ.
So sweet of you to say that.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my MOONCAST. I'm a Vietnamese communist born and living in Vietnam. I'm Luna. I made a lot of videos about history of Vietnam, ideology stuff, Marxist-Leninist from Vietnamese perspective. I also did a lot of traveling vlog, and in the future, I would do also actual organizing videos where I work with actual communist union in Vietnam and show you how we work, how organizing works in Vietnam, and how we the workers, the poor students, get together and help local people there. We don't need any the capitalists behind us. We don't need any millionaire behind us. It's just workers, students get together and help people. All right. And this is a topic today that we just talked about. First of all, I started the stream by talking about giving you update about the charity work that I did. Let me show you. Why not? This first. So we last week I did a Last week, I in my last MOONCAST, I had a fundraiser where I call for donations from my our audience from you, call for donation from you for to have that was Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union. They were planning to build a playground for local people in a very remote area, and very 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 happy that we reached our goal. And is it because of your donations that we can have this? This is the footage of them, the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union members working with local people, making this playground for local people right here. It means a lot. It means a lot. And yeah, I went to the trip with these people. I worked with these people, and I will make a video and update very very soon. And I will show you the actual, how Vietnamese communists work together and help the community like this. And from and I had a lot of I've been doing this kind of work with Community for the last 15 years, and it means a lot to me, and it reminds me of how important it is for for workers to get outside the door to organize and actually help people in the real life. And it makes me realize that, okay, as again, it reminds me how those dramas, they are not important. It doesn't mean anything. None of them matters because I look at this. We're getting out there, we are sweating, help other people and local people work with us because we share one common goal is to build a better Vietnam guided by socialism. This work outdoor like this, actually help people like this, make me realize that, hey, those dramas, it doesn't mean anything. It don't help anybody. It won't change anything. And the whole point of online people who just they made their whole career of just sitting in front of the screen, talk about dramas, attack other people, harass other people, act like they are the smartest in the room. They don't matter. They don't have any influence in the real life. They don't have anything. They don't change anything in real life. They are not a true leftists. They are not true revolutionaries. All they want is clout and money. And that's just it. I'm talking about people who made their whole career of, debating, having argument and talk about drama. So like they are taking all the air from the room. They're taking away your time, your attention, and your money while you can focus your time, your attention, and your money onto people who are in need out there, on hungry people out there. It's very, very important for us to be reminded, oftenly reminded that dramas don't matter. Those online drama sphere, they are nobody. They are nothing. The moment you walk out the house, the moment you work with people to help the community, nobody out there know who they are or care who they are. That is why I want, we as workers, we are already poor. We have to fight for our daily life. We have to fight against fascists, have to fight against capitalists, fight against false consciousness. We don't need any more online drama people out there, any online debate bros out there to suck off the little money and time and attention that you can spare. We already very tired of this life, fighting against actual capitalists and fascists that threatening our life. We just have so little time and money and effort left. And I want you, I really hope, I encourage you, if you can, if you are capable of, please organize. Please talk to comrades out there, organize, join a party if you can. And remember democratic centralism in your mind. That keep in mind that no party, no organization is perfect. Keep in mind that. And you have to practice democratic centralism in the sense that, yes, when you see problems, you need to raise your voice, raise your concerns, make sure that your voice are heard. If the parties, if other comrades, listen to you and try to fix that problems, that is a good sign. And if they don't, feel free to leave. There are countless choices of organizations and parties out there. And if you try a lot and you don't trust anybody, just like you don't want to work with anybody, okay, start your own. It's fine. Start your own. Just 2 or 3 comrades get together and help the community. The point, as I said, I say it again, try to not do nothing. It's just it. It's just it. And yep. After that, after talking about, how little those dramas people are, how not important they are, and actually the point, the what you should care about is the outside world out there, is the material world out there. You go out there to help people who are in need. The second point I made in this stream is that it is essential for workers to have a workers' party. It is very important. Because like as Ho Chi Minh wrote in the Revolutionary Path in 1927, it is important for workers in a movement, in a country, workers in a country to have a party, a workers' party. Is like a boat that if a boat want to move forward fast, they must have a steerer. That's just it. The party is like a steerer in a boat that will lead the way. It just, yeah. It doesn't mean that the party rule over the workers. It doesn't mean that the parties like go behind the workers being a tailist. Being a commandist or tailist are both bad. Tailist mean that the parties follow the workers in the most reactionary kind of terms. So like just like those MAGA communists, I confidently say that they are tailist. MAGA communists in the sense that they follow the most reactionary part of the working class who have a super strong false consciousness, and they support Trump. They racist, they sexist, bigotry, misogyny. Those MAGA communists, they follow that kind of tailist kind of style. So they like accept bigotry into their movement, racism, sexism in their movement, with the hope that they can radicalize the Trump supporters. Like, no, that is a very ding-dong move. Don't do that. Don't become a tailist. Another way, the opposite is to become commandist. And commandist is like, don't like act like you're above everybody. Don't just give a command on people. No, you have to work alongside with people and teach people class consciousness and let other people show you what mistakes that you make, listen to those criticism and try to fix those things too. All right, that is very important too. We have a super chat. Have the super chat from Boxzilla again. What do you think about Mao's mass line as a philosophy for leadership in party organization? Yes, I really much like mass line of Mao Zedong in Mao Thought. And Ho Chi Minh talk about mass line a lot. In Ho Chi Minh, he said talk about, it could be from Mao's own writing, but I remember Ho Chi Minh talked about come from the masses back into the masses. So all the writings, all the policies, all the resolutions that the parties make must come from the masses and back into the masses. So it means like this. It's like a feedback loop. So the party members, they must closely work with the people, with the working class, with peasants, to hear their thoughts, to hear their concerns, to hear what they want, what they desire, see the problems that they are facing. And from that, they come up with, democratically, they come up with solutions. They suggest solutions to fix the problems that the masses are facing. So that the policies of the parties must come from the masses. The policy after that must imply back into the masses to see it works or not. And then only the masses will be the one who decide that, okay, this policy is good, that policy is bad, this policy is suitable, but it needs some change, needs some fixing, and that policy is also needs some fixing too. So we modifying our resolutions, modifying our policies from that, and then change, report it back to the party, and then the party will, it's like a feedback, never ending loop like that. That is why Ho Chi Minh said, come from the masses and back into the masses. As a mass line in Mao Zedong. It is very important. And make sure that you work alongside with the working class. We teach each other, you develop each other. The party work as a steerer of a boat, teach the working class, teach the people about ideology, about Marxism, Leninism, class consciousness, but also be aware that we are all humans. Party members are also just human. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to make a lot of mistakes, and they're going to have a lot of problems. You need to apply democracy here. Listen to the people. Listen to the people. Listen to their criticism and try to fix our own mistake. And that's like what Ho Chi Minh said. We should not be afraid of making mistakes. What we should be afraid of is we make mistake, but we don't fix it. That is very important. Be aware that we are human beings. We are not perfect. We will make mistakes. But the point is that do not be scared of fixing those mistakes. And too, that I have to be open to criticism, open to receive criticism, and we do that sincerely. And that is one of the most important principle of democratic centralism. All right. Criticism and self-criticism is important to build correctly behavior and choose solidarity with our fellow workers. Yes, give criticism and take criticism, and do not turn it into anything kind of personal issue or kind of, personal hatred or something. Do it as a comrades together. All right. Okay. My partner EJ is working very, 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 very hard, months on end, on a really great documentary about Functions of Fascism by Michael Parenti. The reason why that we want to do this, and I am announcing this, is this. The West, especially the USA right now, is facing a terrible fascist issue. Fascists are rising again in the USA, gaining and more power influence than ever in the last 50, 70 years. They're gaining much more, and they are becoming more and more insidious. So in the 40s and the 30s, there's a straight up call themselves, the fascist party of Italy, the Nazi party, of Germany, and then the fascist party of like Japan. But nowadays, they are being very, very more insidious. It's harder for us to distinguish them with other kind of ideology, other kind of people. Now fascists, they disguise themselves as leftists. They disguise themselves as socialists and communists and Marxist Leninists. Like those MAGA communists. They not communists. They nothing close to communists. Those LaRouche people. They are light year far away from being communist Marxist Leninists. No, they're fascists. All right? But those, the point is on this. Those fascists right now, they are very insidious. They are hiding themselves under the disguise of leftists, communists, socialists, anarchists even. We, as communists now, actual Zarian communists, we need to understand clearly what fascism means, what fascists want to do, and we have to read behind the lines here, because of course they want to appear to you as a leftist communist to fool you, to lure you, because you can see that like whenever communists have a strong movement, start to have a momentum, the fascists will rise up and take over that momentum and present to us as a pseudo-revolutionary. That is very important. That is why I think that this video is going to be very important, because after centuries of indoctrination, false consciousness in education with the Red Scare from the USA in the 70s and the 80s, the vast majority of Americans do not have a clear understanding of what fascism actually means. So with this video, with the great writing from Michael Parenti, I hope that we can clear something out for you about what fascism actually means, what they actually want to do, and how you can detect fascists out of all of their lies and misinformation that you gave. And we did a lot of research. We had to read a lot of articles and books from comrades all around the world talking about fascism and all the problems and all the phenomena of fascism, and learn the essence of fascism.
Check out the trailer. I just shared the link to the trailer.
Oh, can you send that trailer into the private chat so I can grab the link?
Share.
Thanks.
I already shared it in the chat. So just show it on screen.
Yes. Let's watch this. The trailer.
Share tab.
Yes. Function of fascism. Let me full screen first. All right, here we go. Add the stream. All right, let's watch this.
Most people are never exposed to real history. In school, we usually don't read history. We read history textbooks, and mainstream ones at that, which avoid underlying realities, and ones that propagate myths that serve the powers that be, myths that some of us find harmful to the truth and to democracy. So this is real history. This particular segment is entitled The Functions of Fascism. Fascism is a name that was given to the political movement that arose in Italy under the leadership of Benito Mussolini, who ruled that country from 1922 to 1943. Nazism, a similar movement led by Adolf Hitler, Germany's dictator from 1933 to 45. The big landowners and industrialists used their fascist goon squads, gave them money and gave them arms, and used them as kind of strike breakers, anti-labor militias. They styled themselves the United Front against Bolshevism. In 1922, the big capital interests in Italy decided to go for the whole thing. Representatives of the Federation of Industry and the Federation of Agriculture, which was a agribusiness firm, and representatives of the National Banking Association, they all met together, and they met with Mussolini, and they planned the fascist march on Rome. Mussolini sat there and planned that with the leading capitalists of Italy. By the way, this is almost never mentioned in the accounts about the March on Rome. These big capitalists contributed 20 million lira toward that undertaking. In the words of Senator Ettore Conti, himself a very loyal representative of the moneyed interests, quote, Mussolini was the candidate of the plutocracy, that is, of the wealthy, and the business associations. A very similar pattern, by the way, of coordination and compliance existed in Germany also, less than a decade later.
Okay, I hopefully this weekend you can release it, but no promise
Well,
because
it's so close to being finished finally. It's been it's the most editing we've ever done on a project.
Yeah, it's
gonna
hard.
be good.
Yeah,
it's gonna be very good.
We did a lot of work on, to mostly like to write the right pictures and footage for the right talking point. That is very important. With a lot of misunderstanding and false introduction, and also like the raise the quality of the audio, raise the quality of the pictures. Categorize all of them is really tough. Oh, Satellite of Love. Just to say, I like non-compete stuff. I similarly went from a lib to socialist. You both do great work. Thank you.
Awesome. Did you tell them about your video coming up?
My video, yes, I did. My video coming up is about the trip that I just did, the volunteer trip.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go get some food, Luna. I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too. I'm checking the chat right now.
I'm hungry.
Why isn't EJ on screen?
I'm not camera ready.
You're very handsome. Come on. See? Look at that. Perfect face.
I'm sideways.
You're so sorry.
I'm not drinking Merlot. That's a sideways reference. That's the worst reference I've made in my career of bad references. Okay, wrap it up, Luna. We're done.
Wrap it up.
Sing a song.
Wrap it up.
Sing a song. I'll back you up. I'll harmonize.
I sing a song that I will be representing in the CPUSA Second International Conference. Shout out to the CPUSA Second International Conference that will feature Communist Party of Vietnam, Communist Party of China, Communist Party of Cuba, Communist Party of Laos. And I'm going to be doing a speech over there and sing a song too. So this is a sneak preview of that song. That conference is going to be the 29th of July. So please join.
I can't back you up on that song though because it's in Vietnamese.
I hope that my voice is good enough for that.
Don't sing the whole song though because then nobody will watch.
Two
later.
sentences.
You have to keep them wanting more.
Okay. This song is about the Communist Party of Vietnam and how it brings a spring of life to the people of Vietnam. Talking for 2 hours is not good for singing. Đảng đã cho ta một niềm tin. Okay. Sorry.
Come on.
Take two. Take two.
You don't get 2 takes.
Take two. Đảng đã cho ta một mùa xuân đầy ước vọng. Một mùa xuân tươi tràn ánh sáng khắp nơi nơi. Đảng đã đem về tuổi xuân cho nước non, vang tiếng hát ca chứa chan niềm yêu đời. Okay, that's it. That is the review. Hopefully after that conference, I can release that song that I recorded on my YouTube channel, on my Twitter channel too. But thank you everybody for being here. Thank you so much for all of your super chat and your donation. It means a lot. And goodbye everybody. See you next time. Bye. And join that CPUSA Second International Conference featuring the Big Four, as I mentioned. Bye everybody. Featuring me too. Bye.
I thought you meant yourself, the big forehead.